Hello, BookTube. A lot of you will be familiar by this point with the controversy that engulfed NaNoWriMo, National Novel Writing Month, this year. Ordinarily, in an ordinary year, I would be talking about NaNoWriMo at least once a day on my own channel as we gear up to November, in which, from time immemorial, for 10 years or more, we all got together to write the first draft of a novel in November, in the month of November. 50,000 words in the month of November, 1,667 words a day of something that you haven't worked on before, something that you're plotting and prepping for in October, and that you will write in November. I was expecting that I would do that. I had a pinky promised writing team up with the author Janet Wortman to work together on a weird tandem of novels, and a lot of you were also gearing up for it, and then disaster struck. And NaNoWriMo, the company, the corporation that puts on the event, published their stance on generative AI, so-called generative AI, where you have a good enough program, you can feed it 2 paragraphs of your idea about a novel and say generate 50,000 words, and you'll have that in 5 seconds. And you might have to touch it up here and there, but you didn't write it. The generative AI does that. Naturally, since that's all over the news with especially video production and visual production, but also writing, I guarantee you that the New York Times bestseller list, unbeknownst to itself, has hosted an AI-written novel, at least one, so far already, and that's to say nothing of what will come in the future. Because the NaNoWriMo Corporation knew that, they decided to put out a statement on the subject, and the statement was about as catastrophically bad as you could ask. Obviously, think about NaNoWriMo, think about National Novel Writing Month, where all of us band together, go through the beginnings, go through our dumb ideas, sort them out in the ultimate shakedown cruise, go through that brutal second week when even a good idea has lost its steam and you just have to muscle on, lean on each other in the discussion forums and in the in-person drop-ins and whatnot. Think about that event for a minute in your head, and then imagine what naturally that event's response to so-called generative AI writing stories would be. Yeah, they would put out a statement coming out against it. They would say, obviously NaNoWriMo is for humans. Obviously you are forbidden to use AI to help you write. Help you proofread, I guess, sure. Help you word count, sure. Rude mechanical things like that, but not to generate your prose. You obviously can't do that. You wouldn't want to anyway. Their statement would have read something like, we know we're preaching to the converted here, but we thought we'd say anyway, of course, don't use AI to write your stories. Instead, they didn't do that. They came out with a stance on generative AI that said that they were all in favor of it, that they're all in favor of any way that people write stories. People don't write AI-generated stories, by definition, they don't, but that they're all in favor of people writing stories in any possible way that they can, and also, just as a parting shot on the way out the door, that if you don't have that opinion, you're a bigot. The writing community was absolutely baffled by that statement. And I might point out, I'll point out the obvious here, the obvious that you don't need pointing out to you. Everybody's pointed it out, but I'll point out that the loudest voices condemning that announcement were people who have some of the ableist issues that the NaNoWriMo Corporation was trying to white knight for, saying that it smacks of ableism to say that you don't like AI to write your stories for you. I might point out that some of the loudest voices condemning that position were people who have, I don't even know, some form of autism that gets in the way of writing a story, makes it more of a challenge, some form of ADHD that gets in the way of writing a story, makes it a little more of a challenge. Whatever it is, whatever kind of aphasia or whatever that it is, those people, the people afflicted with those conditions, were the first people to say, I'll overcome it on my own. Thank you very much. I don't need any help. I don't need a machine to help me write. That was baffling. That response, that statement was baffling. And it produced a universal condemnation. In response to which Nano's responses that I've seen, unless there's a big response that I haven't seen, the responses have been, if anything, worse. Even in the face of a catastrophe like that, a PR catastrophe like that, there is a way to fix it. I mentioned it in my own video on the subject. First of all, make every step of this way public. Don't do any of it in private. So publicly fire the people who were involved in crafting that statement. Publicly fire the members of your own board who were in favor of that statement being generated, and then publicly apologize and draft a new statement, new policy. We are very sorry that we so badly dinged your trust. Of course, we are against machines writing fiction for NaNoWriMo. We hope that we can win you back, maybe discount the merch or memberships or something like that. Some gesture like that, done in a fairly high-profile way, would probably have worked. NaNoWriMo hasn't done that. And as a result, I have a point with this, I promise. I'm not just rehashing the subject. As a result, the almost immediate reaction of the gigantic writing community, hundreds of thousands of people that NaNoWriMo had assembled, was identical. Okay, we can't do NaNoWriMo anymore because we don't know if the winner is even human. And we're being insulted on the way out the door in the meantime. So we can't do NaNoWriMo anymore, but we still like what we have felt through NaNoWriMo. The push in the keister to write and the community. We still like that. So many people doing NaNoWriMo over the years, over the decade, have formed writing communities of their own that were built around that event. And those people have realized, well, we can't keep up with the event anymore, but the community can still go on. So NaNoWriMo has splintered into 1,000 different little writing groups for November. I mentioned this myself. I mentioned that I would like to start a writing group like that. Janet Wortman is on board to do that. I'm a little bit preoccupied this year because of writing commitments of my own that I didn't see coming when I thought that. But when you think about it, there's only one NaNoWriMo, but there are an infinite number of writing groups and writing prompts and writing workshops and writing communities like that. There's an infinite number of them. And there's no reason why you can't take advantage of as many as will fill your bucket. I mean, writing is a lonely, difficult task, I have been told. I have never written alone. And I've never found writing difficult, not for a single sentence. But I've been told that it is a solitary performance and that it is difficult. And a lot of people have seen, well, you know, there's no NaNoWriMo anymore, and there was only one NaNoWriMo, but there are writing groups, and there's no reason I can't be part of a couple of them if one is suiting me on one level and one is suiting me on another. So whether or not Janet and I actually get together to make a writing group, probably in the new year, there's still plenty of others. And just recently, here on YouTube, there was an announcement for one that truly delights me. I'm going to leave a link to the video down below. The channel is 58 Keys, hosted by William Gallagher, freelance writer William Gallagher, who I've had on this channel for a few video chats. And he has decided that in addition to his normal 58 Keys video per week, he does one video per week. I don't know how he keeps up with that schedule. All right, so I'm a freak in all ways, video making and writing and whatnot, and reading, of course. He makes a video every week on using iPads, iPhones, and Macs to write. And it's a tech channel. I think it's one of the best tech channels out there. So many far glitzier, far more flashy tech channels with far more subscribers. It'd be nice if William Gallagher had 10,000 subscribers before he launches what I'm about to talk about. Hint, hint. But unlike so many of those channels who are just fed a spec sheet from a tech company and don't use the tech for anything other than doom scrolling, right? A lot of the big tech channels hire people to do literally every part of their video except them talking in front of the camera. They certainly don't use their tech to do any of the things that they talk about. All they use their tech for is doom scrolling. Unlike a lot of those people who are younger and flashier, William is older, more experienced, and actually is a working writer and a working teacher of writing. So when he takes you through the ins and outs of little bits and bobs of how to work on Apple tech, especially in the shadow of an Apple announcement event, it's valuable, far more valuable than any tech channel that I've ever watched. Just in the video that I'm going to link to, the bulk of the video is him taking you through tips for how to write on an iPad. Now he's got what looks like an iPad Pro right there on his knee, just using it without a keyboard. Just there's one tip with a stylus, and the rest of it is just stuff that you can do to maybe memorize, get it into muscle memory, and maybe make things smoother, a little bit smoother. Uh, but in that video, before he gets to the iPad writing tips, he makes an announcement. And it pleases Steve greatly, which is that I think he says in November, he will be making a staggering 2 videos a week. And the second one will be something he is calling the 58 Keys Writing Workshop. So here we have another splinter off group, a splinter child of NaNoWriMo. We don't have NaNoWriMo anymore as long as they're saying that your alarm clock is perfectly free to enter the contest. But we have lots and lots of writing options, and this is a good one. This is a really, really good one. There's nothing official yet. William has not made an official video about it yet. There's no place to, for instance, sign up or learn any details. But I wanted you to know it was coming just so you can mentally prepare yourself for the 58 Keys Writing Workshop. So I will leave a link down below. When the writing workshop debuts, we will all get to look inside the mysterious writing shed. I think it's wonderful. William is, let's just say, a seasoned old hand at every kind of writing. Like me, he has every kind of editor, every kind of sub-editor, every kind of job that pays better than you thought or that disappears when you're in midstream, every kind of freelance thing that's out there. He has been all over the map on his side of the pond, just as I have on this side of the pond. I think that's one of the reasons why I liked his channel immediately, is that I thought, oh, okay, I see the 1,000-mile stare of the freelance writer. I recognize it. So, you will too. It's purely genuine. It's the kind of thing I talk about all the time on this channel, that, YouTube can create this platform and they can host millions of channels. And a lot of those channels want to be millionaires. They want to be Ali Abdaal. They want to just coast into completely insincere superstardom where they Mr. Beast their way through their life and never at all, ever, when the camera's on or when the camera's off, ever again say or do anything genuine. Never. For some weird reason, maybe it's microplastics in the water, they have, so many people have a goal of being a fake a-hole literally till the rest of their life. Maybe they had a bad boss and they're thinking the ultimate revenge on you is to be you. I don't know. But for years on this channel, I've been saying the accidental thing that YouTube does, because of course YouTube is all in favor of enabling avarice and getting people to sign up for programs and do whatever it takes, mid-video breaks for ads and canned content and whatnot. They're all in favor of that. Because it generates clicks for them, because it generates a bottom line for them. But in creating this platform, they've accidentally created a place where, along the margins, people can actually be honest with each other. People can actually be sincere and genuine with each other. And you'll be getting that with the 58 Keys Writing Workshop. So, and again, this isn't a zero-sum game. If more writing workshops also crop up, well, you're free to join them too, right? Find out which one maybe suits your fancy, or maybe a lot of them do. But now there's one on the horizon. It's not actually announced yet, but it's on the horizon. I wanted to make sure you knew about it. I wanted to do 2 things with this video. One, to remind you that 58 Keys, William Gallagher's channel, exists, and that you could go over and hoist him over the 10K subscriber finish line. And 2, to let you know that very soon he's going to start something new, a writing workshop, which will be a lot of fun. I'll leave a link to his video down below, and you are now duly warned. And I will wrap this up for now. I will see you soon. Thank you, BookTube.